Sports presents the National Football League. Today, it's the Seattle Seahawks versus the Denver Broncos.
And the entire state of Colorado is on a Rocky Mountain high. The temperature here, well, it is warm and sunny, 62 degrees. But there's snow in the mountains. The University of Colorado, the #1 collegiate team in the nation. And today, the Denver Broncos can be the first team in the National Football League to make the playoffs. I'm Charlie Jones. This is Merlin Olsen. And also, John Elway is healthy.
He certainly is. But they're not relying as much on Elway here in Denver. That's good news. 17 new faces on this team, a new personality. Offensively, they've gone from a trapping team, a finesse team, to a bull rushing team. The rookie there to look for, Bobby Humphrey. Defensively, a similar change, a much more physical team. New faces there, and they're doing one thing very well now, stopping the running game. Steve Atwater, the rookie, we'll look at there, Charlie.
Let's take a look at the standings in the West. Seattle, they can be tough, a 4-17, but do not count them out.
Charlie, the time that Knox is most difficult to deal with is when you're telling him your team cannot win this game. He'll have these Seattle Seahawks ready to play today.
Denver won the toss, and they will be receiving. Norm Johnson goes up and adjusts the ball. It just fell off of the tee. Ken Bell and Darren Carrington are the return men for the Denver Broncos.
Broncos have had trouble handling the ball on the kickoffs. Let's see how they do at home here today.
And taking it is Ken Bell. And Bell, who has had a problem holding on to the football, particularly on punt returns, brings it out just outside of the 20-yard line. Denver features an offensive line with 4 new starters this year that is still coming together. Backs and receivers, John Elway back at quarterback, recovered from the flu. In passing situations, both running backs and the tight end will come out. Steve Sewell, Sammy Winder, and Michael Young come in. Also, Denver will go to 4 wide receivers. Winder then leaves, and Ricky Nattel places him. Vance Johnson showing motion, and the give is to Bobby Humphrey. And Humphrey just keeps digging underneath. And he has about 7 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 3. Seattle's defense, well, their defense is playing better, but they need to force more turnovers. On passing downs, Tony Woods comes out. Rufus Porter, the designated pass rusher, comes in at right end. Today he'll flop to the other side. We'll also see him rushing at left end. Darren Como and David Wyman will come out. So David Hollis and James Jefferson, they will join a secondary that is solid, but has been burned by big plays. Again, Bobby Humphrey staying on the ground. Maybe a yard on the play. Jeff Bryant makes the tackle.
You're looking at Humphrey's numbers, a 201-pound back that really plays bigger than that. He's surprisingly strong. Great burst of speed, gets off the ball well, and he'll really sock you. Steve Antonopoulos, the trainer, looking at checking his eyes. Looks like he may have gotten a finger in the eye. Elway out of the shotgun.
And an inside handoff on 3rd and 2. And cutting to the outside is Steve Sewell. And he's got the first down.
Steve Sewell has not had as big a role in this offense this year. Talking to him just before the game, he said, yeah, but he said, mine are quality appearances. This one certainly is. This is the kind of running game that the Broncos developed when they did not have that big bull line. They use it effectively there as Sewell picks up the first down.
Gain of 10, first down at the 38-yard line. And again on the ground. Humphrey back in the ball game, has a couple of yards to the 40. And it'll be 2nd down and 8. Darren Como with the tackle. We asked John Elway yesterday about the running attack. I said, this has really helped you with your passing game. He says, No, it's put more pressure on me because I do not have as many opportunities. So I missed 4 or 5 in a row. You get kind of shaky. He said if you're throwing 40 times, you don't even worry about it.
Nobody worries. Well, that's true, and certainly to some extent, there is more pressure on each of Elway's passes.
2nd and 8. Still on the ground. Humphrey again. And he'll pick up close to 3. It'll be 3rd down and 5. Elway still has not gone to the air. David Wyman with the tackle.
Wyman, a power linebacker in there, number 92. Let's watch him in action in the middle of your screen. He is a phone booth strong linebacker. Stuffs people inside, left unblocked on that play. He simply attacked Humphrey and put him on the ground.
Phone booth strong?
Phone booth strength. Boy, he's the kind of guy, you lock him in a phone booth with somebody, he's going to win that battle.
3rd down. Sewell circles over the middle, cuts out, he goes to him, flags are down, it's right on the 1st down marker. James Jefferson bringing down Steve Sewell.
Jacob Green offside, and Elway does this so well. The hard count. Talking to the Seattle coaches, they said in looking at the films, teams averaging 3 to 5 offsides calls per game, and Jacob drawn offside by that barking count. So if it's not a 1st down, Charlie, they'll take the penalty.
Right. Looks as if from the way the ball is placed, it'll be a 1st down, so they refuse the penalty. The chains, though, are on this side. That's a marker on the other side. So they may take the chains clear across.
Big convention over there.
There's always a convention at all decisions this year. Elway is over there to assist the officials.
I think he's supervising.
Yes, I think so. You may be right.
And they are going to bring the chains out. Charlie, what a beautiful day. This is the time of year you can catch snow here. In fact, it's snowing this morning in the mountains just to the west of here. The skiers are excited. My friends up at Aspen say, it's snowing, it's snowing.
We're ready, we're ready.
It is a 1st down. There it is. But here.
Offside. Defense, number 79. Penalty is declined. 1st down.
A few clouds on the far horizon, but an incredibly beautiful day. You'd think September, maybe. Early October.
But snow expected. Possibly
tonight.
Possibly tonight.
Possibly tonight.
My friends also are skiing at Vail today. Yes.
Wow. Good for them, Charlie.
Yes.
You going up to join them?
No, we're working tomorrow. Sports World Show. You know, a little here, a little there. Keep moving. 1st down. 48-yard line. Opening drive of the ball game. Lance Johnson in motion. And Denver continues to stay on the ground. Bobby Humphrey, the ball carrier. Joe Nash makes the tackle. Humphrey in a bit of a doghouse with head coach Dan Reeves. He was arrested on Friday night. DUI, driving under the influence of alcohol. That's the bad news. The good news is, from a Denver standpoint, is he was arrested just after 11 o'clock because there's a 1 o'clock curfew. If you'd violated that, he would have been suspended for a game automatically. That's a team rule.
There's someone who's happy to be feeling better. Big John.
2nd down. Elway has lots of time.
He'll run it.
And dives for the 1st down. 41-yard line. He did not slide. He went for it, and he's got it. And Patrick Hunter was there waiting on him.
Talking to the Seattle defenders, you not only have to respect Elway's arm and play him straight, but he still has the great wheels. Not as fast as he was in the younger days, but he knows where that marker is. By golly, he found it there. Good play, John Elway.
Always 2 parts when you play John Elway. First the pass, and then the scramble. And you have to be aware defensively of both elements. From the pocket, and it sails on him. Orson Mobley, the intended receiver, got a little sidearm, and it got up on him.
Kind of took off on him, although he had good pressure from Tony Woods, number 57, linebacker, rushing from his down position in that particular situation. Elway had to unload that football a little early. You'll see the pressure coming from the left-hand side of your screen. That's Woods. They do get him blocked, but John Elway, as he stepped up, just fired that ball. You're right, Charlie. That ball got out of his hand a little bit. Just kind of flew. We do have winds at about 20 miles an hour that will impact thrown and kicked balls here today.
This is the 10th play of the drive. Almost 5.5 minutes expired. Opening drive, first quarter, no score. Elway deep over the middle, knocked down. Good defensive play. M.L. Johnson.
He's in there today because of an injury that's going to keep his playmate out of there. And M.L. doing a fine job on that particular play. Joe Kane, who has been starting in that position, will not be in there. Top of your picture right there. M.L. just leaning in and with that backside hand, and that is the best technique, able to bat that ball away.
Third down and 10. 41-yard line of Seattle. 7 in the secondary.
Right here it is.
It's complete. First down. Ricky Natil. The three amigos are together again. We asked him yesterday, has he fully recovered from that cracked kneecap? And he said, oh, maybe 85%. He said, call us 2 2/3, amigo.
Outside of your picture, number 84, Jackson going outside, Natil coming inside. There's just no one home. At number 24, Melvin Jenkins, the man trying to cover him. And Jenkins laying off, giving him way too much room. Look how much room he has in there. 3 defenders arriving, but all arriving well behind the play.
Denver in this drive, 3 of 3 on third down conversion. Here's Jeff Alexander. He's got 5. It'll be second down and 5. Let's check around the NFL. Buffalo defeating Cincinnati. Oh, 24-7. Pittsburgh out in front of Miami. The impacts on home field advantage. Kansas City. Woo, look what they're doing to Houston. It's another one of those Sundays in the National Football League. The Colts in front of San Diego. The Jets on top of Atlanta. Green Bay by 1 over Minnesota. New England Raiders, no score. Chicago, Washington, no score. Tampa Bay, Phoenix, no score. Those games just starting along with our game here, where we also have no score. And still, just under 8 minutes to go. This has been a long opening drive for Denver.
Charlie, we talked about the new personality of this Denver defense. A big hog offensive line. How much bigger and stronger they are. Let's look at the changes. Now, this is the 88 offensive line. Studdard, Bishop, Bryan, Juriga, and Lanier. There are 2 faces that'll stay the same, Juriga and Lanier. But look what's happens when we go to the new faces of this new line. The pluses on the side over here, 30 pounds different for Perry. Juriga's up 10, 15 pounds for Carts, 12, and Lanier has gained 21 pounds himself. Much bigger and stronger. It pays off in the running game.
Third down and 4. It's wide open for Elway. I thought he was going to slide, and then he just takes the dive right at the 5. First down, goal to go. Jefferson, Glasgow convert on him.
When John Elway drops back here, he's looking right down the middle, and what does he see? Open territory here. He wastes no time, and away he goes. John Elway is never one to shrink from an opportunity to run. Watch how it opens up. No Seahawks. Elway says, I can take advantage of that.
5-yard line, first down, goal to go. The pitch is to Humphrey. Slips 1 tackle. And we'll give him 1 to the 4. What'll be second down and goal to go. Eugene Robinson makes the tackle.
M.L. Johnson had his hands on the shoulder pads of Humphrey just for a moment. Would have been about a 3-yard loss. But the strength of the rookie out of Alabama, very, very positive as he was able to get back and even perhaps pick up a fraction. Not a great deal.
Have we had an opening drive that lasts the whole first quarter? We've got 6 minutes to go. This one's been 9 minutes old. Seattle's offense well rested. So is Denver's defense.
No opportunities so far.
Play action fake. Trying to set a screen on the right side for Jeff Alexander, but the Seahawks defense simply wouldn't allow it with the pressure. Tony Woods was right there. And Jacob Green.
Elway Wants to get the little fake right there, which he does. That's Woods right up in front of him. And when you get that kind of quick pressure on the screen, there's no time to let it develop. Elway doing exactly what he had to do, not allow himself to be sacked, just unloads the football. That's a case of a good defensive call, and it was the call that killed the play on that one.
17th play of the drive, and Denver takes a timeout. Long opening drive, no score. We'll be back in just a moment. This drive started at the Denver 20. Third down conversions 4 of 4 and 45 yards of the drive thus far on third down.
Charlie, that is good news for Elway, for Shanahan, for Reeves, for all of Denver fans, because that's one thing that Elway has not done as well in this season. Certainly no quarterback in football did it as well as Elway did in those 2 Super Bowl years. He's still been getting big plays in first and second down, but he has not been converting those big third downs. He is short on it here in this first drive today.
And this is 3rd and goal. David Treadwell to attempt the point after. Kubiak the holder. Keith Bishop the snapper. An isolated look at Vance Johnson.
Patrick Hunter trying to cover him, simply not able to get his hands on the ball.
7-0 Denver.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Coors. Enjoy the original taste of Coors, the Rocky Mountain legend. By the good time, great taste of McDonald's. And by Mazda Cars and Trucks. Mazda, it just feels right.
In the background, you saw the capital of Colorado, 18-karat gold flakes on the dome. Harmon and Hollis are set to return the kickoff of David Treadwell. Kevin Harmon to 27-yard line. Let's go back to the touchdown, Merlin.
A chance to watch Vance Johnson right here. He's just going to drive his man off slightly and then go inside. The coverage is excellent, Charlie. But John Elway has so much confidence in his arm that even in the face of good pressure here, he throws anyway. Now, ordinarily, there are a lot of quarterbacks simply would not try to throw that ball. They'd see Patrick Hunter in there. They say, hey, I'm not going to toss it in there. Elway is not afraid, especially when he's going to Johnson. Johnson continues his big play capability.
Vance Johnson, his 6th touchdown reception, Seattle's offense. They have an offensive line that is still in search of consistency. Their backs and receivers. Kelly Stauffer draws his 2nd straight starting assignment at quarterback, and Derek Finner is starting at fullback for John L. Williams. In passing situations, Finner and the tight end Donnie D come out, and Lewis Clark and Paul Scansey, Mr. Third Down, join Steve Largent and Brian Blades as wide receivers.
Both these teams with new quarterbacks in the last couple of weeks. Kubiak was playing last week for Elway. As you remember, the sickness that wiped Elway out, and Stauffer in his 2nd ball game here, the 2nd charge to start.
And Chuck Knox told us they're going to come out throwing.
And they are.
Drops this one over the middle to Brian Blades. And Blades has 9 yards on the play. So a little bit different for Chuck Knox to come out throwing.
You got to be courageous to go across the center, and there comes Blades right across the middle, almost ran over the umpire, and Stauffer able to wait for him to clear through the zones. This is a Denver defense that plays a very high percentage of zone defense.
Are we seeing Air Knox? 2nd down and 1.
Not unless he has to.
Kurt Warner, and he should pick up the first down. Let's take a look at Denver's defense. A very solid unit. Passing situations, the nose tackle and 2 left side linebackers come out. Mark Haynes, Randy Robbins, and Kip Corrington give Denver 7 defensive backs in the game. Thus, the free safety, number 27, Steve Atwater, can move up to linebacker in the nickel package, where the rookie from Arkansas has really had an impact.
He has made some great plays from that position during this season.
First down at the 38. Stauffer again throwing on first down, a little high to Donnie D, the tight end. And it'll be second down and 10. Let's check around the National Football League and see what's going on today. These are finals now. Buffalo winning, Pittsburgh winning, Kansas City shutting out Houston, Indianapolis winning, the Jets winning, and Green Bay by 1 over Minnesota. These games just starting. Raiders up 7-0 on New England. No score in the other games. And here, Denver with the opening drive that lasted 9 minutes and 21 seconds in front of Seattle, 7-0.
Donnie D out of the game. Travis McNeil in at tight end.
Derek Finner, 4 yards to the 42. It'll be third down and 6. He's replacing John L. Williams. John L. still with that bad right ankle and just is hobbled by it.
I talked to him in the locker room just moments before the game. He said he took a helmet right to that ankle. He's excited about watching Fenner. He would obviously love to be playing himself today. Fenner, by the way, Charlie, really a tailback being asked to play at the fullback position today. So he is out of position, but as you can see, an explosive runner.
Third down and 6. Denver with 7 in the secondary. Atwater moves up to the linebacker slot. Stauffer's pass is incomplete. Not a good pass. He was going to Scansey. Scansey was coming back to him. If it would have been complete, it would not have picked up the first down.
One of the things that Stauffer will learn, when the defenders are behind the receiver, throw it down low. A ball like that has a chance of being tipped or flying over the head into the hands of the defenders. Charlie, you're absolutely right. Stauffer will learn with every series he plays. There was a lesson in that one.
Ruben Rodriguez will be kicking. I saw him in the lobby just as I got off the elevator. He said, I can hardly wait to get out there today. This is my favorite stadium. All my best kicks come here. Low snap, still a pretty good one. Vance Johnson takes it at the 7. 15, and goes down at that point. M.L. Johnson, no relation for Seattle at the coverage. 51 yards on the kick, 8 yards on the return, and the Broncos lead 7-0.
NBC Sports serves your need to know all week long. Dial 1-900-454-3500 for NBC Scores Plus. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, anywhere in the USA.
This is Charlie Jones and Merlin Olsen. During that last timeout,
Kip Corrington. That's a very important member of that defensive nickel secondary. It's, again, Antonopoulos, the trainer, apparently took a shot maybe on that crazy bone, Charlie.
And that was smart. First down at the 16. Humphrey gets the call. He just burrows his way for about 5 yards. Joe Nash makes the tackle. Now let's go to Bob Costas in New York for an NFL Live update.
All right, Charlie, final minute 38 at County Stadium in Milwaukee. Wade Wilson airs it out for the Vikings, but here's Dave Brown, the former Seahawk, with his second fourth-quarter interception. This one seals the victory. The first one had set up what proved to be the winning touchdown. The Pack beats the Vikings, and they forge a tie atop the NFC Central. Charlie?
Thank you, Bob. Green Bay, they've become
Big
a spoiler.
Game. Well, I'll tell you, Lindy and Fonte doing a great job with the Pack.
2nd and 5. Humphrey, he'll pick up the first down.
Out of the hands of 2 defenders, as Humphrey showing you why they are so excited about having him in this backfield for the Broncos. The running game. Right here, the first shot missed there, and then it's Wyman, Dave Wyman, who's normally a very dependable tackler, coming over from the inside and missing an easier shot. But Bobby Humphrey just running out of those tackles. You have to wrap him up. Powerful thighs, huge thighs on Humphrey. In fact, he has the 32-inch waist, Charlie. He buys a 36-inch waist Levi. He can't get those Levi's over his thighs. This kid has some real power, and he used it on that play.
I gave him the first down before the officials. They wanted to make sure that my eyesight was still correct.
Well, Charlie, you were close.
The report on Kip Corrington is that he will be able to return to the ball game. Denver has a first down at their own 27-yard line. 2:26 is the time remaining in the first quarter. Denver leads at 7-0. They put together an opening 80-yard drive in 17 plays. It took just under 9.5 minutes. Elway to Johnson, 4 yards for the score. Flags are down. Elway with all the time in the world, going deep. An official blocks off one of the Seahawks defenders. And the man of the hour has become Vance Johnson. Now remember, we had flags down right at the beginning of the play, and there's going to be a controversy. There's nothing you can do about it. One of the deep officials blocked off one of the Seahawks defenders.
Charlie, I don't think it made a difference because I don't think they could have gotten to him anyway. Vance Johnson is going to outrun the defender right here. He's streaking. Here's the bump by the official, but I don't think he could have touched it anyway. That ball perfectly thrown out ahead of Johnson. He didn't have to break stride. The penalty is declined. The play will stand, and that is a huge 69-yard bomb.
And look at the time that Elway has to throw.
Well, that big offensive line can not only block you on the run, but they can hold you out on the pass as well.
We've got a timeout. Denver leads 7-0, and they are threatening again. The added dimension of John Elway, and that is the strength of his arm. And I'm not sure there's any quarterback in the National Football League that has that strength.
Charlie, he has such great confidence in that rifle of an arm, and he's never out of range. His receivers say, we just keep running those patterns. At the point that Vance Johnson was catching that ball, most receivers would have been saying, that ball's not going to get here. They're slowing down to wait for it. And very few can throw the ball, not only with that velocity, but on the straight line that way. Almost impossible to cover.
First down and goal to go. Play action fake. Has a man open. Underthrows him. He had two men, one at the goal line, but I believe it was Pat Kelly who was deep in the end zone, and nobody had picked him up, including John Elway, or he would have thrown to him.
Watch the left-hand side of your screen. Just a little fake inside, and so much more effective with a good rushing game. There's Kelly, and you're right, he was alone, but he was kind of hidden back there in traffic. Alexander complaining that Nesby Glasgow, number 22, pushed him, but he had a right to the football too.
Elway, 4 of 7, 95 yards and a touchdown to this point. Humphrey on the draw, he's got it.
You used the word a moment ago, Charlie. Dimension. This Denver offense can do so many more things to you now that they are capable of controlling the line of scrimmage with that big line and getting that kind of big running performance out of Bobby Humphrey. It makes Elway that much more dangerous as a running quarterback and as a throwing quarterback.
And here's the extra point attempt. And at Karamsu, it hits the upright. And when everything is going right, it continues to go right. The Broncos leading Seattle 14-0. 1:23 is the time remaining in the first quarter.
Watch the little draw play. Everyone, I think, thinking, well, he's going to throw the football. And Elway just hands it into the very secure hands of Bobby Humphrey. Interesting haircut, Charlie. A new wave haircut on Humphrey. You mentioned he's had his problems, but boy, he has sure done a lot of good things here. They love him in Denver.
The haircut, does it remind you of the Superdome in New Orleans where the Super Bowl will be played? It's just a passing thought.
Just a thought.
Just a passing thought. Denver now with touchdown drives of 80 yards and of 84 yards. Kevin Harmon and David Hollis are the return men.
Show it to me one more time, quickly.
And it ricochets off of Harmon, goes out of bounds. Will be Seattle's ball at the 6-yard line. Let's go back to the touchdown.
A chance to watch that touchdown. Watch the block here by Alexander, who comes inside. Here's the ball carrier, Humphrey, just going to wait and delay and then shoot into that end zone all alone. But it's Alexander coming in from the outside. Now watch the block. Bam, right there inside on the blitzing linebacker. And Humphrey with great vision and good balance, able to take advantage of the blocking inside.
Seattle first down at their own 6. Stopper, a play action fake. He goes deep. Blades is there. Incomplete. Oh, had his man beat.
Kelly Stoffer has a powerful arm, Charlie. It's one of his major assets as a young quarterback. The Seahawks have not been able to complete the long passes. This should have been a completion. You've got to believe that Blades is out there saying he can't get it this far. Yes, he can, Brian. And that's a ball you've got to catch. I think it's a touchdown if he catches that ball.
Yes.
Typical of the breakdowns in the Seattle offense all year long.
2nd and 10. Derek Finner just spins on the right side. He has close to 5 yards. Check around the games going with ours. Raiders with the lead, Washington with the lead, no score, Tampa Bay and Phoenix. And here Denver is up by 2 touchdowns, 14-0, and that's the time remaining, 50 seconds in the first quarter.
Charlie, we talked about all the changes that have been made here in Denver. Would it seem to me that Chuck Knox and the Seahawk organization, faced with that same situation, they're going to have to make massive changes in this team, both offensively and defensively.
Stopper from the shotgun. And an inside blitz. Pass is complete. And it is Blades. Right on the first down marker. Looks like at the 17-yard line. And that'll be the first down, yes. Needed 6. He got 7. So he atones a little for pulling up on the long pass by hanging on to this one. But you're right. That was 6 points. Ready and waiting for Seattle. I'm not sure that the cornerbacks also felt on that long play that Blades could, that Stopper could go that deep.
They might not have had that much respect for the rookie's arm.
Into the first quarter, it's Denver 14, Seattle nothing. Seattle has the ball, first down at their own 17-yard line. Kelly Stopper, the quarterback in his 2nd year. Is this the leader of the new breed of the Seahawks? Kurt Warner, looking like the Kurt Warner of old.
I talked to Warner just briefly before the game, and I said, why have you had so many big games against Denver? He said, timing maybe, but he said, I sure need one today. That's good blocking outside by Moon Wilson. Look at that play. They're able to get, that's number 77, Mecklenburg, being blocked on the outside by Edwin Bailey. So good blocking up front by that Seahawk offensive line.
Finner the ball carrier, and he's going to lose a yard back to the 28. It'll be 2nd down and 11.
Stopper, the new quarterback, and many feel, as you suggested, the quarterback of the future for the Seahawks. I mentioned, Charlie, they're going to have to make a lot of changes. When we talked to Tom Flores last night, he's talking about the fact that they have 2 first-round picks, they have 2 second-round picks, and the finish that it would anticipate for them would indicate that that would be a good pick. Their other first-round pick is a Colt pick, and that would be a good one. This man's future Flores said, no question in our minds, he's our coach.
And will be our coach.
And will be our coach next year.
2nd and 11. Hit from behind. It's a fumble. Denver has the ball. Simon Fletcher recovers the fumble.
The turnover story for these two teams dramatically different during 1989. Simon Fletcher, number 73, right-hand side of your screen. And Stauffer takes it right in the back. And Fletcher, you see that hand? That quick slap. Michael Brooks coming in from this side gets around the tackle. And, woo, where are they? Well, Michael didn't know where that football went. There it is.
The key man, though, was number 90. Number 90, Ron Holmes, caused the fumble. 15-yard line, first down. Humphrey. Couple of yards to the 13.
I mentioned turnovers just a moment ago, Charlie, and how important they are. The turnover ratio this year, look at it, and that's updated to the moment. The Broncos +5 on the season. The Seahawks a -10. In 17 years, Chuck Knox has never had a team finish on the negative side. Let's go back and look at what it was last season. It was the Seahawks with the plus numbers, the Broncos with the negative numbers. It has such an impact on the performance of a team, their opportunity to score, their field position. Already has done that here today. Elway calling timeout.
Clock is stopped, 12:59, time remaining in the first half. Denver leads it 14-0. Thus far in the ball game, total yardage, Denver 166 yards, Seattle 38.
2 long drives, one with a huge pass, and now great field position, a chance to really put Seattle under the gun.
Incomplete.
Good pressure on Elway.
Did Natil leave the ground too soon? But I had that feeling.
Charlie, I think one of the things that is probably a little out of whack for Ricky Natil, his timing. Watch the right-hand side of your screen as he comes in. Elway fires the ball. Natil is jumping about 4 yards away. He may have tried to jump to fool the defensive back, because the defensive back has a better chance at the ball here than he does. A chance to maybe go after. He might have just been trying to fool the defensive back. That's Dwayne Harper, 29, the DB, who almost intercepted on that play.
3rd down and 8. The ball at the 13. Into the corner.
Almost.
And a great pass. A great pass. And you've heard this time and time again. Vance Johnson, the intended receiver, but Elway showed another dimension of his arm strength by drilling it low and away, so only Johnson could get it. There was no way it could have been intercepted.
That is absolutely true, and they're working on Harper again in the corner, and even though it's a difficult pass to catch, a chance for Johnson, and Elway's saying, that's one we could have had.
Yes. Well, that shows that dimension of strength.
Treadwell missed 3 field goals, his only bad day as a kicker against the Seahawks earlier this year.
That was indoors. We're outdoors. This is from 30 yards away. No problem.
I asked him about that game earlier. I said, was that the only really bad? He said, what game? He said, I don't even remember that game. Well, he started off right here.
And his reaction as Denver leads 17-0.
NBC sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Honda, who invites you to test drive the new Accord. You have to drive it to believe it. By Radio Shack, the technology store, America's leader in consumer electronics. And by Coors Light, pure brewed in the Rockies. The silver bullet won't slow you down. It's the right beer now.
David Treadwell, who just booted the 30-yard field goal, is kicking off to either Kevin Harmon or David Holler. 5-yard line, it is Holler. Holler's to the 20 and returns to 23, the 24-yard line, where Rick Dennison makes the tackle. Let's take a look at the standings in the Central Division.
Very tight race. It's about as tight as you can get, and some great performance altered today by the jab that Houston was not able to do in their ball game.
And next Sunday, we've got a doubleheader: Cincinnati at Cleveland, Miami at Kansas City, and the late game Denver against the Raiders. Seattle from their own 23-yard line. Back over the middle, center, incomplete. There's a search underway for the contact. Oh, that's difficult to find. A contact. I got to tell you, I used to wear. That is really difficult to find.
The proverbial needle in a haystack down there, I think, Charlie. Lost it apparently.
I think Jeff Alexander
in the end zone.
Yeah.
Jeff Alexander. Good luck to the searchers.
I can give him a hint of how to do it. 2nd and 10. Here's Finner. And he's got about 5 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 5. What they need to do if they get down, as we take a look at the 10-minute ticker, what they need to do is to get down on the ground with a flashlight and peer across, and the light will reflect off of the contact lens.
Charlie, I'm sure you're right.
I've faced enough of them on
but can you imagine what 79,000 people would think was going on down there? It would be a little hysterical.
They would wonder, wouldn't they?
They certainly would. There he is. He's looking to see if it is on his jersey, perhaps. Sometimes a contact lens will stick to you.
Largent's in motion. Open other side. Bryant Blades, another catchable pass. This time he has an excuse. When he went up and looked over the right shoulder, he is looking directly into the sun.
Wayman Henderson in tight coverage. Bump and run, man to man. Blades able to break free. He has room. He's separating. And Charlie, I got to disagree.
You're right. No,
that's the 2nd time today he's had a touchdown pass in his hands, and he has dropped the football.
Yes.
He played so well early in the year when Largent was injured, and even though he's single covered now with Largent back, he has not had the concentration he had early in the year.
Rodriguez kicking. Taken on the bounce by Vance Johnson. Nothing there. He goes out at the 31-yard line. Rufus Porter is in pursuit. We've got a timeout. Following that 45-yard kick and a 5-yard return, Denver leads 17-0. First down yardage. Seattle averaging 3.3 yards. Denver averaging 9.9 yards on first down.
Explosive yardage for these Broncos. And this Seahawk defense really overmatched here today.
Denver from their own 31-yard line. Humphrey has a hole and just plows through to the 39 fumble. But I believe he retained possession at the bottom of the stack. He has 8 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 2.
With 2 backs in there, this Bronco team for years has not had that big fullback. They now have him, and Jeff Alexander, who made a crunching block on that last play. Watch the block right there. Alexander on Nash, number 72, and Nash was right in the hole. What a great play.
Let me correct you. That's Melvin Bratton that is in because Alexander, I think, is still looking for his backup contact.
That's right.
lens.
It is Bratton. Well, they've got 2 power bulls in there. Bratton at 225, Alexander 232. 2 big crunching backs.
Humphrey. He'll get a yard.
In fact, Charlie, Bratton may be the biggest surprise out of that draft. They were able to pick him up this year since he did not sign with Miami after being drafted by Miami last year. Has come off knee rehabilitation, has really made an impact, and I really believe that if the Broncos wanted to give him the ball 20 times a game, he'd plow over the 100-yard mark. He is an exciting back. Needs to work on his blocking and his pickup in the blitz, but he is an outstanding runner.
3rd down and 1. You fake and go deep if you're John Elway. Not when you're up 17-0.
Good short yardage play by the Seahawk defense. They were not pushed out of the way. That big offensive line not able to get them moving on that play. Jariga and Gerald Perry over there, 275, 305 on that left-hand side. But Jeff Bryant able to do a job in there along with Wyman. Let's look at it. Look at the push on the left-hand side of your screen. Jeff Bryant right there stuffs his body into the hole. He's on the ground. And number 77, sore ribs, bad knee and all. Big play.
And Mike Horan will be kicking. Here's the return on for David Hollis. Oh, this is a beauty.
Hollis going to let it go. Ooh.
And they could drop a flag on him if they wanted to, because that was an illegal fair catch signal. It goes for 60 yards, and it will be the touchback, and that is the first touchback in his last 6+ ball games, and that one was from 60 yards out.
That ball had a chance to kick back. And Charlie, as that defense leaves the field, they finally got Denver's offense stopped. When we talked yesterday to Tom Flores, he said that in the draft they have got to look for impact players on defense. They have to do, in essence, what Denver's defense did by picking up those bigger, stronger bodies.
Seattle from their own 20, trailing 17-0. Largent in motion.
Good hit.
And Warner is dropped for a loss.
I talk about bigger, stronger bodies. Number 90, Ron Holmes, one of those.
A reminder to our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of the contest.
I asked Chuck Knox about finding defensive linemen. He said we wanted to find them in the draft, couldn't get them. Denver found some in the draft and also some in Plan B. Alfonso Carricker, Warren Powers, Jake McCullough, and the man who made that last play, Ron Holmes. They have revamped the strength of this offensive or defensive front.
2nd and 11. Stauffer scrambles, and he dives to around the 28-yard line. Carl Mecklenburg was there. Rick Dennison was also there.
One of the players that had really made a surge upward this year, 56, Michael Brooks. Started last year. He is playing outstanding football. A chance right there. He's wearing those sticky gloves. He wanted to keep a hold of Stauffer. Couldn't quite hang on to him, but he made the play, forced the quarterback out of the pocket.
3rd down and 2, and in case you joined the telecast late, Steve Largent does not have a pass reception thus far. As you know, he has that string going of 172 games. Knocked down, and Largent would have been the intended receiver.
We talked about Atwater moving to that nickel linebacker position, and that's where he was on that play, Charlie. Just getting into position quickly up in the air to bat that ball down. We might see him on the right-hand side of the screen. Just barely coming on the blitz, and Stauffer shaking his head.
And what a difference he has been as an impact player.
You talk about impact. That's exactly the kind of thing the Seahawks need to look for. Someone like Atwater that can come in and play and force the offense to say, uh-oh, look out for number 27.
Ricky Nattiel is the return man, and he takes it at the 39-yard line. And he's got about 7 yards on the return out to the 46.
Rufus Porter there with a little pat, number 97 on Nattiel's head. Nattiel getting some work in there, testing those legs a little bit.
33 yards on the kick. The PBA Fall Tour, the Budweiser Touring Players Championship, next Saturday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The nation's top rollers will compete for $150,000 in prize money.
Charlie, when you don't move the ball offensively, you give your opponent great field position. Denver starting on the 45-yard line.
And here's Humphrey. He's hit after 4 yards, still picks up another yard to the 50. It'll be 2nd down and 5 as Joe Nash finally corralled him.
Gene Robinson, the free safety who's had such a fine year, over to pat him on the back. 2 ways to evaluate the good running back. His ability to make people miss or to make the avoiding kind of moves, and then how much yardage does he make after he gets hit. You have to give Humphrey high marks on both sides. He has good moves in avoiding people, and once he's hit, always seems to make a couple of extra yards.
2nd and 5. Humphrey on the draw. He's got the first down, 7 yards to the 43-yard line.
Exactly what I was talking about on that play, Charlie. They hit him about 2 yards before he was going to pick up the first down. But he's able to wiggle and squirm. I call him a burrower. He's like a digger. Well, no, I said he was a burrower. He just kind of gets himself down under those bodies and just keeps surging for yardage. What a valuable addition to this offensive team.
Ball at the Seattle 43-yard line, first down. Denver leads 17-0. 6 minutes, 41 seconds, time remaining in the first half. Fake on a pitch out. Give as he comes back to Melvin Bratton.
Outstanding defensive play over there. Good job by Seattle. Looked like Jacob Green at the bottom of that stack. 53, Darren Como. Como, who played here for the Broncos, would dearly love to have a big day here today. Joe Nash also in on that play. But one of the problems that the Seahawks have, they are really undersized up front. Green at 254, Nash at 269, Bryant at 268. They simply don't match up physically to this huge Denver offensive line.
Second down and 9. Something else, we've had very few flags.
I like that.
I do too.
Elway again.
And we've got one here. I had to say it. Elway with lots of time. Vance Johnson still spinning to the 9.
When John Elway knows he's drawn the defense offside, in essence, he has a free play. And that's exactly what he had there. The other thing that Elway does, his offensive team practices the game after the scramble. Elway looking to the far sideline. He knew he had Vance Johnson all the way out there and rifled the ball. Let's listen to Elway's count. There's the bark. You now know how Elway does it. That hard count.
Hard count. End zone touchdown.
He lost it. He lost it.
Almost. Mark Jackson, he had it, he bobbled it, he almost had it again, and he let it get away.
And when is a strong arm a disadvantage? Well, if you're a receiver, Elway gunned that football between the defenders. Such velocity was very hard to handle.
But go back a play, the 32-yarder that set this up that went to the 9. Elway, another facet of the strong arm. Rolling to his left as a right-hander. Turns and sets, but just balances himself and fires with that right hand.
There's the end of that play. You saw the rifle velocity. Charlie, you're exactly right. Eugene Robinson told me, he said, every time Elway scrambles to his right, I've got to look left because he's always got someone on that left sideline. Touchdown. Johnson again, his third of the day. Can you believe that?
Vance Johnson scoring 2 touchdowns to go with Bobby Humphrey's 1.
Johnson set up the third one.
Yes, he did with a big play.
The long play. I was thinking he got all the way in, but he's had the 2 TD receptions and a long bomb that set up Humphrey's shot into the end zone. See that little pigtail poking out behind? Hey, you can score touchdowns like that. You can wear your hair any way you want to.
Any way you want. You're right. Kubiak to hold. Treadwell with the extra point attempt. And it's good. And Denver leads 24-0.
That's not for a telestrator, but that's a great shot. Great shot. Celebration, Elway.
Meanwhile, back at the right 15-yard line, there's this, I think, part of the continuing search for that lost contact win.
They're mining for gold.
They're never going to give up.
You'd think he would have an extra set here. If not, you better believe someone is madly racing across town. What I liked about that last reception by Vance Johnson, Charlie, the fact that that ball was thrown slightly behind him. He went back and dug it out of the receiver's hands, fought the receiver for or fought the defender for that football. Good job by Vance Johnson.
5 minutes and 18 seconds. That is the time remaining in the first half. This is a direct return by Tony Wood.
Fumble.
Little squib type kick.
Ken
And
Bell.
coming out with it is Ken Bell of Denver. And the Broncos continue to roll.
When Dan Reeves talked about bringing Ken Bell back, and he cut Bell early in the year, he'd fumbled 5 times on the punt return team. He said the reason I brought him back, I felt he deserved a second chance, but we needed him on the coverage teams. He is a great coverage special teamer. He proves it here. This is a linebacker. He's not used to having the football on a kickoff, but he takes a shot right there. Actually, 3 people hitting him and stripping at the ball. The Broncos famous for years for ripping that football loose. You saw it last week. Dennis Smith pulling 2 loose. Did it again here. And they've got great field position again.
At the Seattle 32-yard line.
Yeah, we pounded on that door a few times earlier. Knox doesn't like those negative turnover numbers.
And this is a passing formation. All alone is through a touchdown.
In a game earlier this year when the Seattle Seahawks had really outplayed the Denver Broncos, it was Elway's big plays and big passes that were the difference in that game. He's doing it again here today.
Treadwell adds 1 more.
And John Elway has this brimming stadium on an even higher Rocky Mountain high.
It's Denver 31 and Seattle nothing as the celebration continues.
That horse is going to get tired. I got to believe that a week off, an opportunity to sit back and watch, an opportunity to let his body heal. And John Elway told us yesterday, he said, I really think that my body has benefited from that week off. When you're being pounded every week, there's no chance to let the little nicks come free. Elway had rib problems. He'd had a thigh problem. He said, I am healthy here today. I am ready to play. He's proven it.
32 yards, 1 play, 8 seconds. Elway, 7 of 14, 169 yards. 3 touchdowns with still 5 minutes to go in the first half. Harmon and Hollis are the return men.
Hang on to the football.
To the 20. Makes a nice move inside at the 30 and then knocks helmets and we've got a flag down. That was Kip Corrington that he knocked helmets with. You could hear the hit all the way up here. And we've got a marker.
They call him Baby Mech. He looks like Mecklenburg, so they call him Baby Mech. They love him here. Number 25, Kip Corrington, the man who made that play.
10-yard penalty.
There you look at the face. Now maybe we could get a shot of Mecklenburg. That's Baby Mech there. The real Mech is 77. He's out on the field. But just look at the face and remember now. He's a dead ringer. Same color hair and mustache. There's Mecklenburg. Let's see when he turns around. Well, kind of hard to see. We don't have quite a... There you see it.
Sure.
Yeah. You see the same color mustache, the same shape face. Even do their eye makeup the same, Charlie.
Their eye makeup?
the black stuff under the eyes.
Kurt Warner has a yard to the 22, down 31-0, and Seattle is running the ball. I'm surprised they don't continue to throw. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Here's the gun again at work, and Elway, no one home down the sideline. Someone drops the coverage here. Eugene Robinson, 41. Was it you, or was it Nesby Glasgow, 22?
I think Glasgow coverage was inside. Robinson takes him.
Well, one of the two dead wrong, and that's exactly what happened in the earlier game in the Kingdome in Seattle.
2nd and 9. Stauffer looping one, and Largent fell down at the 39-yard line. Second time that he's wanted to go to Largent. The last drive it was knocked away. This one Steve lost his footing.
Ken Cragen, number 71, came up off the ground furiously. Thought he'd been shot in the back of the legs by somebody. He was really steaming on that last play.
A check around of the late games, and the score here is Denver 31, Seattle nothing, and that time 4:06. That's time remaining in the second quarter. Third down and 9. Brian Blades. Blades to the 35-yard line. He's got the first down. A gain of 13. The man who could well be labeled the GOAT of the ball game thus far. He's had 2 opportunities for long gains and possible touchdowns that he dropped.
Got to believe he'd like to catch a couple of more before the half, so there would be the memory of some catches,
yes,
and not the memory of the drops before he goes in to face that coaching staff. Although I'm sure the worst facing he has to do is with himself. He's a proud professional. He knows that he had a chance at 2 touchdowns.
First down at the 35. Largent in motion. And this one is thrown away. Largent, the motion man, ended up as the blocker on the far side, and he was picking up Greg Cragen. Was it Cragen that he picked up?
Simon Fletcher, the man getting the pressure in there, Charlie. There's Largent, 80, moving across. Let's see who he gets a bump on. It is Fletcher. He's no match for Simon Fletcher at 6'6", 245 pounds. And Fletcher all over Kelly Stauffer. He just kind of brushed Largent aside like a fly. Got to say this for Largent. One of the best blocking wide receivers in the NFL. Has never been afraid to stick his head in there.
Notice after he spun off, he quickly became a receiver again.
I don't blame him. Going deep.
Incomplete. Blades, the intended receiver. If you were with us earlier today on NFL Live, these were the headlines. Bud Carson admits that he made a mistake going on 4th and 13 against Detroit. And Beathard buddy Ryan really wants Jets head coaching job. Wants an assistant there with the New York. And that is our fearsome foursome, NFL Live, that you'll be joining at halftime. They'll be updating all the scores and highlights and all of the latest inside information from around the National Football League. Bob Costas and O.J. Kansas City's Christian Okoye will also be highlighted. 3rd and 10. Comes underneath.
Jeff Chadwick, number 88, the 4th wide receiver, but he is nowhere near the first down. One of the things you have to ensure, Charlie, you got a long 3rd down pass like that, you got to get first down yardage.
A couple of times that's happened to Stauffer. I want to say a rookie mistake. He's not in his rookie year, but in reality he is. He just simply hadn't had that much starting time.
Well, I make the mistake of calling him a rookie because he is still a quarterback who's learning. Started 6 games last year, went 3 for 3.
4th down, they go for it.
Kind of early for that. Pull out the stops. They're going to run.
Kurt Warner with 2 blockers in front has the first down, the 50, the 45. And Warner is picking up some good chunks of yardage because the last 3 games he's had a total of only 62 yards rushing.
Standing with him this morning as he was checking out of the hotel, he said it very simply, I need a big game today. Surprising them with that particular play. He's picked up 36 yards on 5 carries. Charlie, he's had 5 100-plus games. He's averaged over 100 yards against the Broncos. For some reason, seems to always play well against them. He's doing it again today. There aren't many bright spots for Seattle, however.
At the Denver 36. Fake of the inside give to Warner. Stauffer. Everybody was covered, and he'll lose a yard on the scramble. It'll be 2nd and 11. We're climbing towards the, or counting down towards the 2-minute warning. The clock stopped for the quarterback sack and then restarted.
Good pressure inside. Alfonso Carricker and Ron Holmes pushing hard from the inside, along with
Seattle takes that timeout at 2:07. That gives him an extra play before the 2-minute warning. So Chuck Knox has not counted himself out, even though he trails 31-0.
One thing you know and I know about Chuck Knox, he's not going to quit. In fact, he'd like to suit up, put on a helmet, go out there, Charlie. This has been a very difficult season for him. He said it simply in our conversation with him yesterday. He said, no matter where we've been, Los Angeles with the Rams and Buffalo with the Bills and Seattle, we've built winners and we haven't taken a step backward. This is the first time.
NBC Sports World begins the holiday season with an encore performance of the NutraSweet World Professional Figure Skating Championships. A star-studded lineup of skaters, including Brian Boitano, Scott Hamilton, Dorothy Hamill, Debbie Thomas, and you'll see more Olympic stars shine in the Gymnastics 89 Tour of Champions featuring Olga Corbett and Mary Lou Retton. All coming away on December the 2nd on NBC Sports World. 2nd and 11. Stauffer incomplete.
Largent. You see that Largent had tried to plant and come back. They have resodded a large section of this field. And right down the middle of the field, that particular slip took place outside of that. But watch Largent. He'll lose his footing as he drives off here. And his feet come right out. See the chunk he pulled out with his foot? I talked to Largent. I said, Steve, I said, they've resodded a large chunk of the field.
But you said the inside of the hash mark. He said, won't bother me. I work outside.
That's outside of the newly sodded area, but he found a soft spot out there.
3rd and 11. First time that Seattle has been in Denver territory in the first half. Incomplete. Raids, and he is stripped by Tyrone Braxton. And now the 2-minute warning will be given to both benches. We'll take a timeout. Denver leads it 31-0. Steve Largent retiring at the end of this year. He said, I wanted to play at Mile High Stadium one more time. And he has certainly been an outstanding role model for young athletes and youngsters across the nation.
Certainly has, Charlie. In fact, one of my son's teammates, D.R. Merlin, idolizes him, wears his number, puts his card in his helmet, tapes it in there, caught his first long pass. No one expected it, 65 yards. I congratulate him. I said, Steve Largent, be proud of you. He said, you know what? What thrills me, it's Steve's birthday today. So the youngster was more excited about the fact that he'd done it on Steve Largent's birthday than the fact that he had it.
September the 28th. Oh, Stauffer is sacked. 3rd time that he has been sacked. That was 4th and 11. And Denver takes over on down.
Well, Knox going for it on a 2nd, 4th, and long situation. Able to pick it up the first time around. Not so the second. But every time Kelly Stauffer faces this kind of pressure, has a chance to try and read downfield, has to deal with that kind of rush. And that is a hot rush coming in from Powers, number 91. Very, very difficult, but he will learn, Charlie.
The Denver Broncos have sacked the quarterback 3 times today.
That means that they have given up 13, that Seattle has given up 13 sacks in 3 weeks. That is a huge number.
Time remaining first half. Denver leads it 31-0. And here's Sammy Winder. He goes out of bounds. Now, I'm sure what we're going to see here, gain of 4. What we're going to see here, Denver is going to stay on the ground. They're going to run the clock out in the first half.
Are you sure of that, Charlie?
No, not at all. After I thought about it, I said, no, I'm not that sure.
Yeah.
No, I really think that's what Dan Reeves is going to do. I really believe that. I think he'll come out and try and score at the beginning of the second half. I'm not sure he wants to score on this drive.
Yeah, Charlie, I think he'll take all the points he can get.
Okay.
I think they're thrilled with the fact that they've been able to explode the way they have today.
A middle screen set up to Winder. And incomplete. And let's check the ticker.
Winder tangled up with a couple of his linemen on that play.
New England upset last week.
Wow, look at that.
They beat Buffalo, and now they've tied with the Raiders at half. Chicago and Washington tied. Everybody's tied except us. And it's Denver 31 and Seattle nothing. Third down and 6. At the Seattle 48. Elway goes deep. It is complete to Johnson. And Vance goes to the 20-yard line. 28 yards on the play.
Vance Johnson running his man off, turning him around. Boy, what a great job. Good pattern, Vance Johnson.
Are you ready for this? 5 receptions, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns in the first half for Vance Johnson. Look at those numbers.
Oof.
That's a career.
Mike Shanahan, short-time coach of the Los Angeles Raiders, full-time coach now of the quarterbacks.
And what did he say? What did he say his responsibility was?
He said, my job is to get John Elway better. Or ready.
Get him ready.
He tried to get him better last week. He couldn't do that.
He couldn't get him better.
He got him ready for today. Elway much better since Shanahan returned. Look who caught it again.
Vance Johnson at the 9. Gain of 12.
I think he's getting tired.
6 receptions, 154 yards.
Blitz coming. Elway reads it, and it's well picked up. That's one of the advantages, again, of having that big offensive line. They cover so much room inside, hard to find a gap to blitz through.
Forget what I said about running out the clock at the first half. Okay? Pretend I didn't say it. First and goal. Timing pattern.
Touchdown.
Yes.
Michael Young. Well, at least they're spreading it around on the day. Young, who has been a big play receiver, has brought a smile to the face of John Elway.
And his first touchdown as a Bronco.
Had a couple of big plays in that game against New York last week to help sustain in that ball game. You better believe he's going to smile.
Extra point is good. 52-yard drive in 5 plays as the domination continues. 38-0.
On that touchdown play, Michael Young going to drive inside and force Jenkins off the ball and just float to the outside in the end zone. He didn't quite run it that wobbly a fashion, but watch him drive Jenkins inside and then outside, the ball hanging in the air. He does a great job of catching that ball with Melvin Jenkins wrapped all the way around him.
Elway's reaction, that is his 4th touchdown pass, and we're still in the first half.
He better be careful. They may start giving him alternate weeks off if he's going to play this way. Congratulating each other on that very fine touchdown pass, and today has been an all Denver afternoon.
Here's David Hollis on the return. 2 flags, 3 flags are down. Scott Curtis makes the tackle.
One of those officials wants to blow his nose. Now he's in trouble, Charlie.
Right.
They're all out.
But again, we haven't had a lot of penalties.
Yeah, it has been. Well, we've had a couple of conferences, and we're having another one here.
Yeah.
We have holding on the return on number 92. The penalty is declined. We have holding on the return on number 52. We will penalize half the distance to the goal line. First down.
This is when your leader rallies the troops. It'd be interesting to see what he says at halftime. You've been in those situations with him years ago.
Charlie, I don't even, as great a halftime speaker as Knox is, I don't know that he has a 38-0 halftime speech.
Seattle has been penalized 19 yards. Denver, no yardage in the first half. Stopper to Largent. The streak continues. 173 games.
I think that's probably the least important thing that's happened for Seattle, although they made some yardage on that play.
Made a little yardage. Fired back underneath the coverage to Kurt Warner, and Warner's out to the 25-yard line. He's got the first down. And coming up at halftime, NFL Live, Bob Costas, O.J. Simpson, scores and highlights, and that feature on Christian Okoye
and final timeout
of the Kansas City
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
This is a 40-second.
That was the voice of Dick Hancock, the referee. A 40-second timeout. Seattle's last timeout in this half.
Charlie, what I can tell you about Chuck Knox is that he will continue to be positive, even in a negative situation like this. But what he has told his players already is that he plans to evaluate their performance in the latter stages of this season, and certainly in the second half here. And that performance will have a great deal to do with who stays and who goes next year, because they are going to have to make a lot of changes.
And last night, Shirley Knox came by to say hello to you because you're friends, you're played, and you've known her for such a long, long time. And you said to Shirley, what kind of a year is this?
Chuck is famous for his cliches, but Shirley's picked up a few of her own. She said, this is the kind of year that builds character. Well, it's so tough on coaches' wives and players' wives. Charlie, they are the unsung heroes in this game.
First down for the 25. Kurt Warner again underneath the defensive coverage. He's out to the 32-yard line. The clock will continue moving. Braxton makes the tackle.
And when everything is going badly for you, the game seems to go on forever, as does the season. Good
Warner
catch.
again. First down and out of bounds at the 33-yard line. Excuse me, the 37-yard line. 4 seconds is the time remaining. Kurt Warner had only 11 receptions on the year coming into this game. And now he has 3 for 37 to go to that total. He's looked good, and he has not had a good year. You've talked about it. You talked with him about it. But this is a good ball game.
He certainly is not alone in that regard. John L. Williams was such an outstanding last year, 1988. Also a very marginal 1989. So the two big running guns in that backfield stilled in this season for the most part.
Stauffer wanted to go deep. 4th sack. Play started with 4 seconds left in the first half, and time runs out on the clock and on Kelly Stauffer and Carl Berg. A standing ovation.
And there's a man who has orchestrated this resounding first half for the Broncos. A thumping defense and exploding offense. And the Broncos have done it all.
A Rocky Mountain high. You can paint the Rocky Mountains orange. 38-0 at the half. Welcome back. It is halftime. Denver 38, Seattle nothing. John Elway, we believe a record is 4 touchdown passes in the first half.
Charlie, I think one of the things that really helped Elway was sitting back last week, taking the pressure off of him. His body was able to heal. And right now they're ready to go back to work. It'll be interesting to see if Elway is going to start this second half or whether we'll see Kubiak.
Again, the short kick this time is taken by Darren Como. He holds on to it. And Seattle will start the second half on offense.
Statistics, as you would expect, extremely one-sided for the for the Broncos over the Seahawks.
And a Denver player is down. That is Scott Curtis.
Backup linebacker, down. One of the new faces on this Bronco team. And Kelly Stauffer will start the second half. Really no reason. Knox said he would not be afraid to put Craig into this game if it was turning badly and they had a chance to win.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that Knox will concede this game, although I'm sure that his experience in the game of football will tell him it's extremely unlikely. In fact, what is the greatest comeback ever? 37-0, Charlie?
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't anticipate we'll see that today. But I would imagine that this second half will be used as a testing ground, not only for Stauffer, but also for some other young players who will have a chance. Andy Heck getting his experience down there as a starting left tackle.
And another question is, well, how much of the second half will Elway play, or will he play the entire second half? Let's go back while we have this moment. Let's go back to your thought that we were talking about, that the reason that Elway is playing so well today.
Charlie, I think one of the things that John Elway has suffered from early in this season, he has carried such an incredible load over the last few years, and that gets increasingly difficult. I think having a better running game, having a better defense, and being able to sit back last week and see Kubiak go in there and to realize that he doesn't have to do it all. That Elway does not. John Elway, don't have to go out and win the game on every play. And he said, that's about the most relaxed yesterday that I have seen him in a long time.
Yeah.
And Kubiak is going to come in and start in the second half. That's a great story. I asked Kubiak before the game. I said, how long before your start did you know? He said, I knew about 1 o'clock. He said, I roomed with John, and John was sick enough at 1 o'clock. I figured he was not going to make it. And that's last week's game, of course, last Monday night.
Stauffer comes back outside, and he goes to Kurt Warner.
And
He's become his most popular receiver.
Cragen and Grant Feasel having a war in there, and finally a flag in the air. I saw Cragen go back at Feasel earlier in the game and take a shot at him, extremely angry. I don't know whether it was because he felt that Feasel was on his legs or what, but Cragen, who has had a superb year for the Denver Broncos, really angry at Grant Feasel.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Cragen coming off the field. He'll talk to defensive coordinator Wade Phillips. Well, I guess he won't talk to him.
This is not the time.
Wade is never going to tell his players to back off. He has got them playing a very aggressive attack-style defense, and he's got to be pleased with the way things are going defensively today, as well as what the offense has done.
Seattle from their own 42, first down. Stauffer has pressure, and it is incomplete. He was avoiding the loss, and he pulled it off. Ron Holmes, there he is.
And they're saying he was
in the grass. They're going to rule in the grass. That is the 5th sack.
And that's 15 sacks in the last 3 weeks. Putting a young quarterback on the field has its risk. Look at the holding there. Unable to slow him down even. Even the hold couldn't keep Holmes out of there. And that's one of the new faces. He was traded in from Tampa Bay right at the end of training camp, and they have real excitement about him playing in there today because Andre Townsend has a groin pull, but they say he is making marvelous progress.
2nd and 24.
They're blowing it dead.
Finner incomplete. Was there a delay of game? Violation of 30 seconds before he got it off?
Must have been. No play.
Delay. Offense, number 11. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
It'll be 2nd and 29. Report on Kip Corrington. He is out with a concussion and will not return. I now have an official report for the Denver Broncos. John Elway has never had, prior to today, a 4-touchdown first half. So congratulations, John, and happy Thanksgiving. Oh, and a Merry Christmas, too. Yeah. Stauffer goes deep. Blades has this one down the sidelines. It was 2nd and 29, and he may have gotten it all.
They're right on the mark. They're going to give him the first down, Charlie. And one of the Broncos down on the field.
Randy Robbins.
They've already lost Corrington, one of their nickel backs. Robbins, number 48, gets a big hit on the sideline. Watch the shot on Blades here. Blades driving up. Awfully close, and Robbins still on the ground. Apparently bounced into something on the sideline.
Now Blades, who looked as if he was going into a box or something, a container, and he comes back out, but the man who hit him, when he came down, and that's a white tarp that's on that sideline. When he came down on it, they're still working on it.
Robbins is sitting up.
Yes, that's Randy Robbins.
Robbins finally back up on his feet. May have just rung his bell a little bit. Trainer Steve Antonopoulos very busy. Charlie, I think one of the other things that needs to be said about this Denver Bronco team, they have not been afraid to take some risks with their draft. They have a fine training staff here, great rehabilitation program. Back in '87, they drafted Michael Brooks and Mark Munford, both with knee problems, and both now being very productive in this defense. And this last year, Bobby Humphrey with 2 broken feet, or he broke his foot twice, and they checked him out. They said, we want him. We can make sure that he's going to be back at 100%. Also, Bratton with his knee problem. They said, we'll be able to rehabilitate them. 4 risky drafts in a way, but they have all paid big dividends and would appear to be going to pay dividends for a long time.
First down at the Denver 48, 29 yards on that last play. And we have whistles. Largent has the reception, but the play is going to be called back. A flag is down. Maybe another delay.
Well, I think we have a false start on that one.
All right.
False start. Offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty.
That's the rookie
Still
Andy
first
Heck
down.
of Notre Dame. #1 draft choice.
They're teasing Andy Heck a little bit in the locker room before the game. And Knox apparently had come out earlier this last week and talked about how pleased they were with his progress. And he said, I expect Andy Heck to be around for 15 years and to go to a whole bunch of Pro Bowls. And I said, Andy, how are you feeling? He said, I just want to make it through this one. He said, this has been a long year for a rookie. Their college season is already finished, so it is difficult.
First and 15. Largent has it near the first. He's going to have 14 yards. His second reception of the ball game. It's going to be second down and 1. And meanwhile, back at the 40-yard line, another pushing and shoving contest has erupted.
Largent, bottom of your screen right there. Nice little turn on Braxton, number 34. And Charlie, I'm going to miss number 80.
Yes.
Largent has been such a gentleman, such a class act. Nobody runs better patterns. Nobody twists those defensive backs around any better than he does. I asked him, what are you going to do this next year? He said, well, I might be up there where you are. I said, well, don't come for my job. I got enough problems as it is. But he's had a chance to audition with CBS and ESPN as well as NBC.
Right.
And I think the proud Peacock would like to have him in the booth.
And he says the game of football is still fun. He still enjoys the game. Kurt Warner. Warner to the 25, a gain of 13. Coming up with the fumble is Travis McNeil. They're going to rule it down at the 25. They're going to rule it down at the 25.
Well, in the first half, the ball bounced to the guys in the orange shirts every time it went on the ground. Let's see if we can see when it breaks loose. McNeil, the tight end. We mentioned that Donnie D is out of this game with a knee injury. Kurt Warner, just a little bit of a slant there, cutting back against the grain. Good job right there. Avoids Cragen, number 71, the nose tackle, and Mecklenburg. I think his knee is on the ground. But look at that ball right up in the air. A one hopper. And McNeil took it downfield. He said, hey, I got this one.
I'm enjoying Kurt Warner. 51 yards, 6 carries, and we've got whistle sounding.
I think we've got too much time again. Plays coming in from the sideline. Chick Harris.
Offense, number 11, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Chick Harris is the man in the white jacket, and he is the man who is signaling in. Knox is saying, come on, let's go. Call the plays in there. That's the hard-jawed look that he gave to Chick Harris right there. Even with a young quarterback, he wants it done right.
First and 15 at the 30. Timing pattern, far side, and it is incomplete. Largent, the intended receiver.
Wayman Henderson, an excellent job on that last play. Here's another one of those Plan B acquisitions. One of the new faces, played for the Vikings. Watch the mirror coverage. And I asked him, I said, how do you know when to turn around in man-to-man coverage? Your back is to that quarterback. He said, I look at the hands and the eyes of that receiver, and he'll tell me when that ball is in the air. He did that.
Speaking of eyes, Largent says he wants the defender to look him in the eyes.
Well, you bet. He said, they're looking at my eyes. I can't see what the rest of my body is doing. I can make them turn around. It's been one of his keys for a long time, Charlie.
Largent in motion.
Slip. That's the loose turf. That's the new turf, Charlie.
Between the hash marks and slip down. Now let's take a chance to check up on all of the scores, the early games with the victors in white, and then as we come down later, the games that are running parallel to ours. Interesting, though, that we've had sliding on the insides of the turf between the hash marks, which you talked about, and also some outside.
Well, that's a heavy sod that they put down, but you can still lift up large chunks of it. I'm surprised we haven't had more slipping middle of the field.
3rd and 15. Stauffer's pass is incomplete.
Scansey.
And he tipped it, and it continued on downfield. Nobody else could pull it in.
Can't believe that that's a play you really want, though. With 3rd and 15, Scansey is hooked up at about, well, would make a gain of about 3-4 yards. And they're going to go for it on 4th and extremely long. Knox obviously feeling that the benefit to be gained from this game is the experience of a young quarterback and young players.
4th and 15.
Mostly young quarterback, I would say.
Knocked down, ball is loose. It was 4th down. Denver will take over on downs at the 41-yard line.
Number 77, the Snow Goose, out with injuries, knee problems early in the year, has come back with a vengeance. Just before the half, he got a sack. That's his 2nd of the day.
The Snow Goose?
That's his nickname, Charlie.
We've got a timeout, and Denver leads 38-0.
NBC sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By Zenith. The quality goes in before the name goes on. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
As we come back to Mile High Stadium, Denver's first opportunity on offense in the second half, and Gary Kubiak is the quarterback. Last week, 13 of 27, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception in that victory. He got the job done, didn't he, Merlin?
He sure did.
And Bobby Humphrey, the ball carrier.
Just a tag to that. Dan Reeves said we've got the best backup quarterback in the NFL. And Kubiak with a remarkable record when he's been asked to start. And by the way, he had to go back. That flu start for him last week was his 2nd like that. Back in '83, his rookie year, Elway went down with the flu for a Seattle game. Kubiak came in and won that game as well. So he's got a fine record as a backup quarterback. And he'll have to have a perfect mentality to ride in that position.
Jeff Alexander to the 50.
Charlie, just to tag to that, and talking to Kubiak, I said, even though I know how careful you are with your studies and that you're ready to play every week, when suddenly somebody tells you you're going to start now and it's just before game time, is there a moment of panic? He said, you do reach for your book.
Could we call him Dr. Kubiak? He makes sick quarterbacks well. He comes out and plays well.
He's sure. I think his performances, and I said it earlier, really did wonders for John Elway.
3rd and 1. Johnson, the motion man. Humphrey is hit behind the line of scrimmage. M.L. Johnson and David Wyman were there.
SB Glasgow as well. A whole bunch of Seahawks. You could hear this one all the way up in the stands. And there's some frustration surfacing here for these Seahawks. There's the initial hit. That's Wyman, 92. We talked about his phone booth strength. That's what I mean by phone booth strength, Charlie.
Mike Horan will be kicking, but we got whistles.
Timeout. Seattle, their first timeout.
Seattle takes a timeout. They were short a man on the playing field. So we'll take a timeout. Denver leads it 38-0.
Part of this huge crowd, the lady with the glasses, dark glasses, and the NBC hat. Charlie, I think you know those folks.
My wife and my daughter. And my daughter, Julie, also is wearing a John Elway jersey that he sent her when he welcomed her to Denver. She now married to Leon Smitherman, lives here. David Hollis with the fair catch.
She is also probably thrilled then as a Bronco fan with what has happened here in this first half.
Yes. First time that they've been at a ballgame here in Mile High Stadium, and this is a great stadium. And look, new quarterback for Seattle. We'll have that story when we come back.
Serves your need to know all week long. Dial 1-900-454-3500 for NBC Scores Plus. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, anywhere in the USA.
And Dave Craig is the new quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks.
Charlie, it was one of the things that chased Craig, and he talked about it when I visited with him this morning. Talking about a young quarterback, he said, I try and talk to him about mistakes. He said, of course, he may not listen because it was mistakes that put me on the bench. But he is, he's a gentleman. He really is.
A bad exchange, and he still gets the pass off, and it is complete to Brian Blades. And Craig stepped back before the snap, but that's all right because he was moving backwards, and so it's not a flag.
But Charlie, that's one of the things that happened to Craig so often during the season. In fact, Knox said he had 13 fumbles, 11 bad snaps from the center. Feasel, you see Feasel holding the ball there. Either he's late getting it up or Craig is pulled out too early. Feasel actually flipped him the ball. Well, that was an unusual play, to say the least. Lucky it was not fumbled.
First down at the 31. Here's Elroy Harris, the rookie running back from Eastern Kentucky, and he's brought down by Ron Holmes. Holmes is having a good ball game, Merlin.
Holmes is really making some progress and taking advantage of an opportunity to start. We mentioned that Andre Townsend, the normal starter in that position, has been out, although Holmes has been playing a great deal early in the year. They're excited. Boy, they just have they're so pleased about these strong, big, young defensive linemen. And I mentioned they got 4 new faces in there, and it's really made a difference up front in the way they can play defense.
2nd and 11. Largent has it and is out of bounds at the 44-yard line.
Great receivers instinctively feel that sideline, and Largent is a great receiver. His records bear that out. Look at him. He never looks at the sideline, but look what he does with his feet here. Watch his feet.
He knows immediately.
He knows immediately how close he is to that sideline. 2 toes down. In fact, his knees were almost in.
For Largent, 3 receptions, 44 yards. First down. The streak continues at 173 games. He's still chasing the elusive record of Don Hudson. Blades intercepted. Yes. Excellent defensive play. Tyrone Braxton.
We've seen a great many big plays offensively.
The man his teammates call Chicken Man has the interception.
Well, the Chicken Man is an awkward-looking defensive back, but he does make big plays like this one.
And the Broncos continue to control the game.
Back at Mile High Stadium, we talked about the new faces. There's one of the old faces with the black collar on that blue coat. Billy Bryant, center for so many years here. And Charlie, one of the things that really helped Dan Reeves early in this year, and it turned out to be a blessing in disguise, at first, it was frightening. They had a lot of injuries. Dorsett went down. Bryant went down with an injury. Wilhite went down. But they were able to put the new faces into the lineup early, give them repetitions in camp. Of course, there are other people gone, too. Rulon Jones, Dave Studdard, Mike Harden is gone, Castile and Ryan, all replaced by younger, stronger players, and all those positions on an upward spiral now. More productivity.
Play action fake by Kubiak. Incomplete. Mark Jackson, the intended receiver. He had good protection. 3rd and 7.
Kubiak showing real patience in that pocket and good pass protection. This pass protection for the Broncos has improved tremendously. Ooh, he took a shot. Joe Nash, 72.
Did he get beat up in that ball game last Monday night?
Cold night like that with the wind howling. You better believe he was sore. When you haven't played that much, your body is not in shape to take that kind of pounding. But he loved it. He loved this opportunity to come in and do well.
There's a blitz from the outside. He avoids it.
Ooh,
and runs
fumble.
back into it in a fumble.
And the ball rolled right back into his hands.
Joe Nash and Roy Hart were both there for Seattle.
Kubiak gets away from some heat. Watch this. Jefferson driving in, spins up. He'll turn back right into a shot right there. That's Nash again leveling him. But that ball, as it has done so many times, taking a bounce in Denver's favor.
Mike Horan kicking. David Hollis, the return man. And returns near the 50-yard line. They'll mark it at the 49-yard line. Seattle will take over, and let's check around the National Football League. These are the late games. New England Raiders tied at 21. Washington leading Chicago by 3. Phoenix leading Tampa Bay by 3. And here at Mile High Stadium, Denver leading Seattle by 3 and an 8. 38. Next Sunday, be sure to be with us here on NBC. Those are the games. We'll come back to those as play is ready to resume at the 49-yard line. Largent in motion. Craig looks left. Knocked away. Did it slip out of his hand?
I think it just
slipped out of his hand. Yeah.
I think he started to throw the ball and tried the long arm fake, and the ball came loose.
What else can go wrong if you're a Seattle Seahawks fan?
Watch Craig now. He's going to get a long arm fake and try to stop the throw. Well, it just slipped out on the way up. And clearly a fumble. Clearly a fumble because the ball is out before the arm started forward. They're lucky to get that one back. Second and about 24 yards to go.
Broncos have sacked the quarterback 17 times in the last 4 games. 29 total sacks this season. Craig throws, tipped, airborne, incomplete. Scansey, the intended receiver. Carrington going for the interception. Will be 3rd and 24. Next week, Seattle will return to the Kingdome to host Buffalo on Monday night. And Denver will be in the Coliseum in Los Angeles against the Raiders. We'll be in Kansas City for Miami and the Chiefs.
I'm sure that Dan Reeves would like to bank a few of these points for next week. Can't do that, unfortunately.
3rd and 24.
Good catch.
Good comeback for Brian Blades. He saw that his quarterback was in trouble. He came back to help him. His 6th reception on the day.
I think even if he catches 10 on the day, Charlie, the 2 that he will remember are those 2 that he dropped in the first half that could have been touchdowns. Craig will scramble away from Cragen right there and zip a pass. Nice throw right there, and good concentrating, good catch under pressure there from Mumford, number 51.
Rodriguez to kick. Vance Johnson, who has scored 2 touchdowns, is the return man. Good kick. He'll let this one go. Takes a Seattle bounce. It'll be down inside the 5. They're going to mark it about the 3-yard line.
Seattle Seahawk fans saying, is there such a thing in this game as a Seahawk bounce? Apparently so. At least one, anyway.
And Eugene Robinson was there to down the ball. They'll mark it out to the 5. Where Denver will take over with 5 minutes and 13 seconds left to go in the third. That kick for 49 yards.
One of the things that the Broncos have not had in the past is the ability to take the football and run out the clock, to use that strong running game to just eat the clock off the wall. Let's see if they can do it here. They got 95 yards between here and the other end. Let's see if they don't try and just eat it up with that running game.
Bobby Humphrey, the ball carrier. Patrick Hunt tackle. Now let's take an update look at the standings. AFC West. Denver 9-2. Raiders are 5-6, tied in their ball game. Kansas City 5-6. San Diego 4-8, and Seattle 4-7. And there is a look at the division, and because of that, Denver can clinch the Western Division title with a victory today.
Earliest ever clinched, Charlie?
No, the earliest ever clinched the Chicago Bears in 1985 on the 12th game of the season, and last year Buffalo clinched on the Bears of the 11th game of the season. Buffalo last year on the 12th. So it's a tie for second in that category. And now look at the standings in the Central Division. Boy, that's anybody's guess.
Well, and certainly the most competitive division in the NFL right now.
And Pittsburgh, the biggest surprise of the NFL. And next Sunday on NBC, Cincinnati against Cleveland, Miami against Kansas City, Denver against the Raiders.
Seahawk defense came up with a big play. A loss of yardage for the Broncos. They may have to go to the air on this play, Charlie.
3rd down and 6. Kubiak, incomplete. Jackson, the intended receiver. It'll be 4th down. Seattle could come up with pretty good field position.
Kubiak with that ball slightly off target inside of his receiver, and Jackson jumped back to the inside, had his hands on it for a moment, but could not control it.
And so Mike Horan will be kicking to David Hollis.
Talked to Horan about the horrendous winds last week. He said it is just a little frightening back there when the wind's howling.
Another good kick. Hollis backpedals, takes it at the 34. Cut down at the 42. 8 yards on the return. Bruce Klosterman had the coverage.
Charlie, Brian Blades, who was out there on that kickoff return, on the return team, is down on the ground. He got a great block on that play, but he ends up laying on the ground and is very, very slow getting up. Seattle has always used a number of their veteran players on special teams, and Blades, who was part of a double teaming combo there. That's Jim Weitzel in the white hat, the Seahawks trainer. Seahawks training staff judged the best in the NFL last year by the Trainers Association, and they've had their hands full in a season that's seen more than their share of injuries. Blades limping a little as he heads to the sideline, but at least up under his own power.
And that kick of Mike Horan traveled 57 yards with the 8-yard return, so Seattle does not have outstanding field position. They got pretty good field position at their own 41-yard line, but Horan certainly did his job.
Well, you'd like to get something on the board if you're Seattle, Charlie. They've stopped the hemorrhaging. The score was 38-0 at the half. We're almost to the end of the third quarter. It's still 38-0, but still no Seattle points.
Craig throws, Largent has it, slips the tackle, does a little outside-inside move, and he's to the 50-yard line. He'll have 9. It'll be 2nd down and 1, and that is his 4th reception on the day. Steve Atwater with the tackle. Now let's look at the AFC East. Buffalo, Miami, Indianapolis still hanging in there. New England has become the spoilers. The Jets win today. You know, it's been a long time between victories for the Jets.
They put some big points on the board, too. Surprise.
2nd and 1. Largent's at the far side, chunks back over the middle, and they go to Largent. He came inside, came back out, and it is incomplete. Rick Dennison had the coverage, and now you saw the standings. Let's check up on all of the scores. The winners in white: Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Kansas City. Indianapolis, the Jets, and Green Bay. And then the games that are going on now. New England Raiders tied. Washington has 10 on Chicago. Phoenix has 3 on Tampa Bay. And here, 2:43 left in the third. Denver well on their way to clinching the Western Division title in the 12th game of the season. And then a chance to go for home field advantage, which becomes so important. The Broncos won it here. They play so well here. Kevin Harmon. And Harmon breaks it down the far sideline inside the 30 to the 26-yard line.
Watch the right-hand side of your screen. Number 80, Largent, right there. Look at that block on Fletcher. As Largent, I talked about his blocking earlier. He's not big enough to do that, but that block was the key block in springing him loose on that play. Harris getting upfield, doing a good job of running away after he gets his chance. Harmon, excuse me, not Harris, Harmon, activated through this game.
Every time Largent blocks somebody, he got to regroups and blocks them again. He always gets knocked off of his feet. First down at the 26. To Largent. Largent took a little more time than he wanted to getting around Braxton, and meanwhile, Craig was running out of time.
No, I'm not going to get it. Dennis Smith, old adversaries, and Dennis Smith, by the way, we haven't seen big plays from him today. He hasn't had the opportunity, but what an incredible season he has had. AFC player, the defensive player of the month in October. Last week, 2 big strips of the football in that Washington game. He's back to the form he showed in 84, 85. Pro Bowl player in 86 and 87. Outstanding.
This is the deepest penetration in Denver territory for Seattle as Craig runs and throws. Pass is complete as he goes to Travis McNeil, and he goes out at the 5-yard line, where it'll be first down and goal to go for the Seahawks.
There's Dennis Smith, number 49. Safety gets in, and that's his man, the tight end. He got a good pop on him, but he is limping as he finishes that play. I wonder if he caught the knee coming up, or did he pull his groin?
First down, goal to go, 5-yard line. You're within, you're looking at the hitman. You're within easy range for the touchdown to Largent to tie Don Hudson's record. And they stay on the ground and go for it and have the touchdown.
Charlie, I don't think they're worried right now about getting a touchdown for Largent. I do too. But they're more worried about getting that 0 off the board, salvaging a little pride. You might say that's not a lot. You only got 1 touchdown on the day. Believe me, it's better than being shut out.
And Derek Finner does it.
That's got to be Finner's first touchdown in the NFL, Charlie?
Yes, it is. From 5 yards out. And the extra point attempt by Norm Johnson. And it's good. And so it is Denver 38, Seattle 7. Today's telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Denver Broncos and the National Football League is prohibited. This game, the property of the National Football League, Denver Broncos, and Seattle Seahawks, all rights reserved. 1:38, time remaining in the third quarter.
There's a man who's not going to want to watch a replay of this game, Charlie, but he will. And he'll make some hard decisions on the basis, as I mentioned, of the way his players respond to adversity. He said it yesterday. He said, you know, we're going to be judged on the way we, and he put the collective we in there, coaches and players, respond to the kind of adversity that we are having during this 1989 season. And there has been a bunch of it.
59 yards on the drive in 6 plays. Time of possession 1:53. And Derek Finner scores his first NFL touchdown from 5 yards out. Denver looking and anticipating the onside kick. As you can see, they have the hands team. They've got everybody up. Here's Ken Bell. And Bell returns to the 16-yard line. Tony Woods had the coverage. A first down with 1:28 to go in the third and a 38-7 lead.
Charlie, when we talked to Dan Reeves yesterday, he mentioned the fact that the decision to take the defensive staff and exchange them, Joe Collier and his staff leaving and Wade Phillips coming in and getting a chance to establish his own defense here, was really a difficult one for him. But it has paid huge dividends for them during this season.
Humphrey, the remaining back, to the active quarterback. And he comes outside to Orson Mobley.
Face mask.
First
I think
down.
they missed it. Looked like there was a face mask on the tackle as Mobley gets his first catch of the day.
And a gain of 12. Report on Dennis Smith. He has a groin injury. He's trying to report it off. We do not know if he'll be back in.
Let's see if there is a face mask on the back of this play. Yep. Well, maybe, yes.
No, I don't
Right
think
there.
so. No, I'm not sure. I think that he hooked the shoulder pad when he came, because he stayed below it. Merlin,
There are a lot of folks.
listen,
Charlie,
if you're at home,
Charlie,
wait a minute, hold it. Merlin's giving me one of those looks. He really is giving me one of those looks.
Charlie, there are a lot of folks up in Seattle who feel the same way. And obviously the official didn't call it, so maybe you're right.
Just squirting through is Bobby Humphrey. He is an impressive back, isn't he?
We talk about his explosiveness as a back. Watch him as he just pops through inside. He's had 22 carries on the day, 79 yards. Good block, Kenny Lanier, number 76, coming across to trap on Jeff Bryant, number 77. Like 92.
And now we'll take the countdown to the end of the third quarter.
David Wyman making that tackle finally in there, Charlie.
3 down, 1 to go, 38-7 Denver. It seems only fitting that we go back and salute the Denver Broncos of 1960, one of the original AFL franchises, and this is the team photo.
Charlie, you were doing the broadcast for the Dallas Texans
and
at
also
that
for
time.
ABC at that time. I did this
ABC.
ball game. A ball game will show you pictures.
But the one thing that's fun about this is their team picture. Now, they wore crazy uniforms. They wore striped socks, but they hated them so much they refused to wear the striped socks in the team picture. Here's a shot of the team in action, and you can see well, we'll get it later. They're worth seeing. We'll go to the striped socks here momentarily.
Bob Humphrey carries now. You remember those striped socks? If you're an old AFL fan, well, the story behind them, they bought the uniforms from the Copper Bowl at that time in bankrupt. They bought the uniforms from the Copper Bowl. That's not the Copper Bowl.
There
Here
we
they
go.
are. Here they are. And we'll get it. And notice also the officials were red and white stripes, red and black.
There are the striped
They
socks.
burned the sock.
They had a public burning
Yes.
of the vertically striped socks.
I think there's one pair remaining, and it's in the Hall of Fame.
They should be.
Yes, that's where they belong.
Perhaps the ugliest socks ever worn with football uniforms.
They're terrible. You are right. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Humphrey carries on 2nd down and 6. And Eugene Robinson makes the tackle. Took us a little while to get that story done, but we got it all in.
Well, they have a great history here. Great fans here in Denver. Charlie, when I was playing football, I loved to come up here because this is kind of the epitome of the game in a way. Natural grass field. Stands are always full. They've had so many sellouts, it's hard to count them. And
It goes back to
enthusiastic,
19 years of sellout.
19 years, enthusiastic fans. The colors are great here. I love the weather here too. I liked coming up here to play, and I enjoy coming up here to broadcast.
I've always loved broadcasting here. It's a great city, a super state. And And we've got whistle. And those, you could see on those shots that, there were not a lot of people in the stands. Of course, the stands were not near as big as they are now. Here's the call from the referee.
False start, offense, number 60, still third down.
False start on Gerald Perry. And the broadcast booth was a little wooden shack that was built up on time. And halftime had the best chili in the world at halftime.
You would remember that.
Oh, you remember that.
Charlie, that false start in the game, in the earlier game in Seattle, Perry, who was trying to block Rufus Porter, had 3 of those false starts, and Rufus Porter able to get him to jump, as he did then, with the flinch on the line of scrimmage, starting backwards.
He was showing you that flinch last night.
He's down there now. Let's see if he tries it again. Nope.
3rd and 11, deep over the middle, incomplete. Mark Jackson a little late looking back. Just a little late looking back. And it'll be 4th down. James Jefferson had the coverage.
The thing that made that confrontation of Gerald Perry and Rufus Porter so interesting is that they were teammates at Southern. And Jeff Alexander, another teammate, at times today, 3 of them have been locked up as Perry and Alexander have tried to keep Porter out of there, and they've done a good job. He has no sacks on the day.
Mike Horan will be kicking to David Hollis. High, lazy floater. They'll stay away from it.
Don't want it to touch you there. Whoop.
And it will be down by Tim Lucas. Denver 38, Seattle 7. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. This is a sign that at one time was 40 yards long. Welcome to the home of the Denver Broncos.
AFC champ.
AFC champ, yes, but now being rolled up by the barrel man.
There's the happy sign maker himself.
That's right.
Spent all his money on paper to make that sign. No clothes.
That's a great line. I love it. First down, Seattle. Intercepted. Munford.
Mark Munford, number 51, has an uncanny ability. There he is, right-hand side of your screen. Watch him now. Here's Munford right here. Watch him now as he just steps in front to make this play. Great anticipation. And look at that, concentration on the ball. Big play capability and elite speed.
Pretty good hands. His 2nd interception of the year. And here's Humphrey for a couple to the 13-yard line. David Wyman with the tackle, along with Jethro Franklin. .12:23 and counting. Time remaining in the ball game. Denver up 14-0 at the end of the first quarter. 34-0 at halftime. 38-7 after 3.
Charlie, it's this kind of game that makes you wish there were an uncle rule in the NFL. You could say, I think it's enough now. Seattle, I think, going to have a very long and quiet ride on the way home.
Kubiak with all the time in the world. He's throwing that one away. That's right. They come to the 50-yard line, declare uncle. We roll all the commercials we've got left. We're going to make our business, right? And then we all go home, right?
Here's one of the reasons that it has been such a one-sided game. Aside from the heroics of John Elway, Seattle has turned the ball over 4 times on the day. When you're playing a young quarterback, and Stauffer, as we might add, has been playing most of the game, although he's been replaced in the late going. And you see the head shake there from the head man, Chuck Knox. I think he may be asking himself, what the hell do we do now?
3rd down. Ooh. Kubiak, 8-yard line.
Going to be 4th and short. You know what I like about Kubiak? Even though he doesn't get that many chances to play, he's so decisive. Watch this, a bad snap. He's a good athlete just to get that ball. He's got pressure. He doesn't mess around. He just breaks out of there and heads downfield. Blitz coming on that last play.
And David Treadwell, with a 30-yard field goal to his credit, will be kicking again.
That was Roy Hart getting the heat on him. Seldom used nose tackle, able to get in there and put some heat on him.
And a 25-yard field goal attempt. And he's got it. Treadwell now has hit 9 in a row. 41-7. We'll be back.
NBC sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by the new generation of Oldsmobile. Step into the future now at your Oldsmobile dealer. By the U.S. Army. Learn how to get an edge on life. Be all you can be. And by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you.
Kevin Harmon and David Hollis are deep as David Treadwell kicks off. Here is Harmon on the return. Fumble. Seattle picks it up. They'll lose a couple of yards on the fumble.
Hollis, I think,
Yes, he is.
scooped that up. Number 25 there to pick up the ball.
And Jager with a field goal. The Raiders in front of New England now in the fourth quarter by 3. Washington comfortably in front of Chicago. Phoenix continues to lead Tampa Bay. And here it is, Denver 41, Seattle 7. And next week, Cincinnati at Cleveland, Miami at Kansas City, and Denver against the Raiders. All here on NBC. Elroy Harris. And he's got almost 5 yards. Here's the score and the time remaining here at Mile High Stadium, and you can see that the Broncos just over 10.5 minutes away from clinching the Western Division title in the 12th game of the season.
Charlie, we have seen some fresh faces for Seattle. Elroy Harris on that last run. Kevin Harmon, a good run earlier. Derek Fenner has been a little bit impressive today. Kind of hard to look good on a day like today, though. Nobody in the white uniforms.
And here is Derek Fenner, who has scored the Seahawks' only touchdown. And tonight's lineup on NBC, and it is a good one. There's a surprise for it. The Magical World of Disney, Parent Trap, Hawaiian Honeymoon, Sister Kate, My Two Dads. Then the big one. That's one of my favorite movies, Top Gun, the Sunday night movie here on NBC. I just love listening to the music. You know, and the aerial footage is truly spectacular. That is a great movie. 3rd down and 1. And here is Harris popping through. He's got the first down. They'll mark him down at the 46-yard line. So he picks up 7 yards on the play. Elroy Harris taken in the 3rd round of the draft, 5'9", 218 pounds, out of Eastern Kentucky. Prior to this game, had a total of only 4 rushes for 9 yards. So an opportunity here in the 4th quarter for him to get a little work.
Team defense. Look at how many players are contributing in this defense. 10 sacks, 10 with sacks, 10 with forced fumbles, 9 with fumble recoveries, 8 with interceptions.
Craig's pass to Brian Blades is complete. They'll mark it at the reception at the 41-yard line. It'll be a first down.
You know what's kind of surprised me, as laid back as Wade Phillips is, that he has been able to coach this very aggressive and physical defense. There's Wade Phillips, father, of course, successful head coach for so many years at Houston and New Orleans. And
he said he talks to him. He said he talks to him on the phone. And I said, well, what do you think? He said, well, Bum, he's still the head coach.
Well, a great relationship between the two of them.
Finner picks up the first down as he goes to the 39.
And you might ask the question, if you're a Seahawk fan, why are they running the football? Well, you look up on the scoreboard. Things are so one-sided, you're not going to win it with a pass or two. You might as well look at some of your young players, give them a chance to work within the framework of this offense. You're not going to win it with a couple of desperation throws.
One of the problems the Seahawks have had, Steve Largent said it, we're just slopping around out there.
They have made all kinds of mistakes during this season.
That was a quote of the entire season, not for just
not
this
just
game.
today.
Dropped over the middle to Finner. 33-yard line. Derek Finner, interesting young man.
He certainly is, Charlie. At North Carolina in his sophomore year, got in trouble with the law, was accused of murder. In
Yes.
fact, locked up, and they finally found the right guy, but still has a propensity to get into the wrong place, the wrong time. His last scrape with the law just this year when he was shot in the arm back on the East Coast. But they like his talent, and they're trying to get him to stay away from some of those unsavory characters. He's played pretty well today.
And if he does, there could be a future for him in professional football. Harris carries, and who knows where Finner might. He's a smart young too. He's able to build his life back up. Now, the banner we talked about, that 40-yard banner, they run rolling. Well, now they were rolling it out.
They took it to the other side.
Oh, they got it on this side.
Yeah,
it's
they
down
wanted
below
everybody
it.
to see it.
That's it. Oh, so they're showing it to the fans on the other side.
Well, if you sell your clothes to buy paper to do a banner, I mean, you might as well show it to both sides. Show
the
to both
naked
sides.
artist.
Charlie, I said it earlier, and it's worth repeating. Some of these young players getting a chance to get into the game for Seattle are going to either make their mark or make a negative mark, and this evaluation will weigh heavily on what's done in the draft later in the year.
3rd and 3, a diving reception. And that is Paul Scantley. 3rd down and 3. He's missed a 3rd down. Has been all year. 23-yard line, 1st down. Time remaining, 5:54 and counting in the ball game. Largent goes wide to the far side. Brian Blades splits to the near side. To Largent, can't get to it. A step away from a touchdown. And it'll be 2nd and 10. As you know, of course, he is chasing the record of Don Hudson of 99 touchdowns receiving. He has 98.
He certainly had his man beaten. Braxton did not read the cut properly, and he was able to get in behind the safety. That ball just slightly overthrown. Randy Robbins out on the field in place of Dennis Smith, still on the sideline with that groin injury.
Pass comes back side to Harris, and he gets almost to the 15-yard line. Don Hudson, you have to go back in time. He's from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. He was All-American Alabama. The Bear Bryant was the other end. Then he went on to the pros, Green Bay Packers, and here he is, a famous number 14. And that is, you're watching now one of his 99 touchdown receptions. Steve Largent has 98 received. Hudson had a trick, though. Goalposts in were H's, and they were right on the goal line, and he would go down with the receiver, the defender right behind him, and he had hooked the goalpost, spin around, the defender go right through the end zone, he'd turn around and catch the ball. Wily veteran.
Not a bad play.
Quarterback draw. 9-yard line. Has the first down.
Charlie, every time you get together with some of the old-timers, some of the great players from the history of the NFL, and they start to talk about the players who lit up the scoreboard, Don Hudson's name is one of the first to be mentioned. Talk about his great speed, his catching ability, the fact that he really revolutionized the way patterns were run. He was one of the first who had all of the different options to run in the secondary at a time when that just wasn't done. Well, he was a true innovator as well as a great athlete.
At a time they didn't throw the ball that much, nor did they play that many games.
You wonder how many he could have caught in the pass-happy game we're playing today.
Oh, yeah. Goes outside.
Ball batted away. That's Alfonso Carricker. We got him in plan B, or was it Lucas? One of the two. Well, Carricker was out there at that left end. Lucas out at the linebacking position on that side.
And Lucas got it.
Lucas got it. Well, I was going to give it to Carricker.
Well, you're only one player away.
They're certainly pleased about Carricker, by the way. They were able to pick him up plan B from Green Bay.
Second and go. Largent's in the slot on the right side. Largent's open. And he goes back to it. Can he get it? Coming across deep was Brian Blades. Was that Blades, I believe? That was
Blades that missed the pass coming across. I think Blades thought the pass was to Largent. Let's see what happens to Largent. Largent gets away right there for a moment. Now Blades will come from the far side of your screen. He's looking at Largent.
Yeah.
He's sure that's Largent's pass.
I think it was Largent's pass.
Well, just a little long for Largent.
Yeah, that's right. All right, now it's third down goal to go at the 9. Largent's in motion. Largent's open. Oh, no, he throws it. Can he get to it? No, and he was wide open.
You better believe that those two, Craig and Largent, who have been such good friends, been teammates for a long, long time, have excellent coordination as receiver and catcher. Largent had no idea that there was no one else out there. He's still running the definition of the pattern. Look at this. He doesn't realize he's the only one out there. Ball thrown on the break, and Craig read the fact that there were no defenders out there. He said, all I got to do is put it down in the end zone. Largent will get it. Largent had already made the move and wanted it short.
Fourth and go. He put that one up for grabs. Largent had double coverage. There was no chance at all.
Well, if Steve Largent were as tall as Wilt Chamberlain, he might have been able to get that one.
We've got a timeout as Denver marches to the Western Division title. This is Charlie Jones, Merlin Olsen, 3:34. That is the time remaining. Denver 41, Seattle 7. Broncos have the ball at their own 9-yard line. And Sammy Winder carries.
Winder, the workhorse for so many years of this Denver backfield, fits well as a backup in there. Still the kind of back that's a dependable receiver. He'll pick up those blitzing linebackers. He also does an excellent job of burrowing for the good yardage.
And don't forget tonight, the magical world of Disney, Parent Trap, Hawaiian Honeymoon, Sister Kate, My Two Dads, and the big one, Top Gun, the Sunday night movie here
on
NBC.
favorites. One of my favorites.
Oh, yes. Mother Goose. Mother Goose had to die. Oh, that was a shame. Great character. And Kubiak brought down at the 1-yard line. First sack that Seattle has had.
Woods in there to make the sack. Tony Woods, the man on the spot.
Now let's check all the scores. The winners in white: Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Indianapolis, Jets, Green Bay. Raiders now a final. Washington with a big lead. Phoenix still close in the fourth over Tampa Bay. And here it's Denver 31, Seattle 7, John Elway. Denver 41, I'm sorry, Denver 41. Seattle 7. John Elway, 4 touchdown passes in the first half. First time in his career that he's thrown 4 touchdown passes in the first half of a ball game. Now just doing a little work on the clock. This is Winder again. Roy Hart with the tackle. And they'll take the count down to the 2 minutes.
Hunting team onto the field.
It'll be 4th down and 14.
Charlie, I can remember losing seasons. One of the things I remember distinctly, how long they were, how very long they were.
And we'll be back in a moment. The Denver Broncos, they're in the playoffs. Can they win the Super Bowl? Are they that good?
Charlie, this is a totally different team than the one that went to the playoffs and on to the Super Bowl in '87 and '88, and had really embarrassed themselves. '86 and '87, actually '87 and '88 Super Bowls. But the reason they're different, they run the football now. They were really not a running team before. They couldn't do that. They couldn't stop the run. They're a much more physical team. I think they're a team that has set themselves up, if not for this year, for the playoffs for the next few years and a chance to go back and win that Super Bowl. Yes.
And also, I think the way Elway is obviously healthy. He looks as good today as I've ever seen him look in his career. He is strong. He rolls to the left and throws. He throws deep. He's playing with confidence. He's having a lot of fun. And when you've got that and the other mix that they've added, I think there's a possibility of a Super Bowl ring.
Balance, Charlie. That's the secret right now of this Denver team. And the capability. They can do so many things. The fact that they're able to rest him tonight. You see that big smile? I think Elway enjoyed this game. I think some of the pleasure had gone out of the game early in this year. He has enjoyed this game, and having fun has exploded.
And we've enjoyed watching him, too. Fair catch is called for and taken at the 40-yard line. We've got a timeout. And Denver still leads 41-7.
Today.
Craig is in trouble, and he is sacked. 8 sacks. 8 sacks for the Denver Broncos.
Well, it's a lineman's dream, Charlie. Boy, I tell you, when you know the other team has to pass, they really don't have any options. You just lean back. You don't worry about the run. You just go for the pass.
Second and everything. Blades has it, 30-yard line. It's close to the first down.
That ball was touched by Munford. Great concentration by Blades.
And we'll be back in just a moment. We opened the show with John Denver and Rocky Mountain, Iowa, John Elway, and Elway really responds. We also had a phone call in the truck to Larry Cirillo from John Denver watching up in Aspen, and he enjoyed the
Bronco
opening.
Fan.
Yes,
yeah.
And an Elway fan, and we enjoyed sharing his great talents. And by the way, the Budweiser MVP, as you know, is Elway, and Budweiser make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all of the MVPs selected in today's games.
Another flashback of some of the brilliant Elway in the first half of this ball game, and look at those numbers.
Oh yes.
Oof.
Vintage John Elway.
The camera too hot to handle. Too hot to handle. Machinery couldn't handle it.
Largent,
Look
is
at
it
this.
there?
Yes.
Yes. We have tied the record. All right.
Well, there had to be some positive note for the Seahawks on the day. I think we have found one.
Craig to Largent. His 99th touchdown receiving, tying Don Hudson's all-time NFL record. And by the way, he has one rushing.
And he did it in typical Largent fashion. Braxton right on top of him, his hand near that football. Largent still made the catch. Now he goes out and takes another job. He'll be the holder with Jeff Kemp on the inactive list for the day. Largent handles this responsibility.
And Norm Johnson adds the point after.
Charlie, just a tag on. As pleased as Largent will be about this record, he would much rather have seen his team win today. A consummate team player, he has never been one to really worry about those individual records. This man, watch how he feels about that record for his friend, his teammate.
And he knows, yes, he knows it's it. All right.
Well, finally,
yes,
a happy note on the day for the Hawks. And as we've said, been a long drought for them today.
And congratulations all around. Well deserved. That's number 100. Remember the one rushing? He joins the Century Club.
There's some special names on that list, aren't there?
Oh, yes.
Brown, Payton, Riggins.
More. Hudson had some rushing, too, yes. Now, look at this kickoff ratio.
Rusty Tillman special.
I think we're going to have an onside kick. Do you have that feeling? I have that feeling.
I think it's time to practice something unique and different, Charlie.
Well, it is.
Everyone on the one side of the field.
And here they come. It's like a Calvary. Oh! And it is Steve Sewell and the Good Hands group that comes down with it. He knocked about 4 yards downfield.
Alonzo Mitz, number 61, caught Sewell in the air and just hammered him. There's Alonzo Mitz. Watch the play. That ball kicked so it'll bounce high at the last second. Well, this is why Sewell is there. And now, bam! Ouch! That hurt.
So Denver takes over with 1 minute and 8 seconds left in the ball game. Comfortably in front. A juxtaposition of numbers, 41-14. And now they'll just down the ball and run out the clock.
Charlie, having clinched the division now, one of the things that the Broncos look forward to is winning enough games to ensure home field advantage for all of the playoffs.
Another quick final. Washington did defeat Chicago. Raiders over New England. The Phoenix-Tampa Bay game is still going on. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, Charlie, that it's one of the things that the Broncos would love to be able to do is to play all of those playoff games right here at Mile High Stadium because they play so darn well here. In fact, here are the numbers. With under Dan Reeves, 54-14 at home regular season, 3-1 in the playoffs. It's no wonder that they would like to say, hey, folks, come on down. We'll play it in our backyard. A very happy Dan Reeves will exit with his players for congratulations all around. And Chuck Knox will do some soul searching along with his players. Ken Behring. I'd say these are not only professional coaches, but they're friends. They've shared a lot over the years.
You heard the gun. It is now official. Denver 41, Seattle 14. Denver captured the Western Division title. And as a footnote or a headline, Steve Largent ties Don Hudson's record with his 99th touchdown reception. We'll be back in just a moment. And there is the man of the hour, John Elway. 4 touchdown passes in the first half. First time in his career, leading Denver to a 41-14 victory over the Seattle Seahawks. And Steve Largent, that elusive 99th record-tying touchdown. Oh, second touchdown of the year. His first one came in the first game. He was out with a broken elbow. He missed until 5 games ago. But now he is back, and this is his farewell performance at Mile High Stadium. And what a nice remembrance he will have of the reception, not necessarily of the game. Tonight on NBC, The Magical World of Disney will present the conclusion of Parent Trap, Hawaiian Honeymoon, followed by Sister Kate and My Two Dads, and then Top Gun starring Tom Cruise. That's all tonight on NBC.
The preceding has been a presentation of NBC Sports.